Hey everybody, and welcome to Sneaky Geek. My name is Bryce, and this is my co-host Bryan Romero.
Hey there.
And we are here today with another exciting episode of our What Happened at Comic-Con quadrilogy.
Day 3,
which is super exciting. However, we had a slight audio issue we want to warn you about.
A lot of audio issues.
We've been having a lot of audio issues lately, period. We've had mics dying out. It's expensive to run Adobe Audition on multiple computers, so recording sometimes requires you to be on Audacity.
Which isn't the greatest program.
No, it's not. And it's actually awful.
Yeah.
So for you out there who are thinking, maybe I could have a podcast, don't do it on Audacity because you'll just be filled with disappointment.
Yeah.
Oof. Anyways, so this episode we recorded on 3 different microphones. My Bob Barker microphone, the microphone we normally record on, and this like boxy Tascam. This microphone was attached to a computer that was faulty. The Tascam managed to not pick up people the way it was supposed to, and did something at a weird hertz level, which was strange. And then my one mic, my little Bob Barker mic, picked up me and everybody else in the echo chamber.
Yeah, the tiniest mic that we have was the best one that day.
Yeah. So that happened.
Yeah.
So enjoy this episode.
Yeah, we have a couple special guests on.
Yeah, we got 2 special guests. We got Reid and we got Nick. Nick is no stranger to the podcast, but Reid's new.
Yeah.
And both of whom were at Comic-Con with us occasionally, doing their Comic-Con thing.
Doing very different things. So we're kind of get a little overall story of what everybody did.
Yeah, pretty insightful stuff. Pretty great. Enjoy.
Here you go.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, how are you? Everyone's got a lot of energy. I'm really glad about that. Yeah, we're really moving. Cool.
So much energy.
Did some calisthenics. Welcome to Sneaky Geek, everybody. And we are on day 3, which is Saturday now, of Comic-Con. And by on day 3, I mean weeks later we got together to talk about what happened on Saturday in hopes that we could still remember what was going on.
Yeah.
So, with us this time, we have Nick, who is a longtime friend of the podcast.
Hey guys.
And our new friend of the podcast, Reid.
I'm a new friend. I'm Reid. Hi.
Good work, Reid. You're doing great.
Thanks.
So,
Cool. Hey.
all of us went to Comic-Con all 4 days, yes? Yeah. Cool beans. Yes, how do you guys feel about financial decisions that shouldn't be made? Because that's not right.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so we were there on Saturday, and Saturday was freaking packed.
That was busy. Like, I know it's supposed to be, like, the busiest day still.
Yeah, Saturday is prime time.
That was nuts.
Yeah. I spent a ton of time shuffling behind people on Saturday, and that is not my idea of a good time by any means. It's hard to like stop and see things, and vendors are like, are you buying? Are you not? If you're not, why are you standing here? And whereas on like Thursday and Friday, they're totally fine with it.
Yeah. The fact that you could actually, go to a vendor and actually see
what they got? Someone sounds bitter.
Yeah, see what they got, because I missed out on a lot of things.
Yeah, because you were working in a booth.
Everybody was working on
I was
this.
working.
Yeah.
I was doing some stuff, but I saw a lot of cool things. But the fact that what I was saying was the fact that you could actually go near a vendor is
Yeah.
It took a while. It took a long time to get there for what it's worth. Yeah. And I had to walk as though I had a walker and was like an old man because everyone in front of me was also taking tiny steps. And as a guy with long legs, that's a really awful place to be.
As a guy with short legs, no, it's still pretty difficult.
It's still pretty difficult.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. No, I'm used to long steps, and instead I'm taking like 4 steps for every step I would normally take, and I don't think my body was prepared for that.
You look like those videos of little animals with the teeny feet that like walk very fast.
Like Stewie?
Yeah.
It's like when the Flintstones are running their car. Hobbling, little shuffle.
Yeah.
So
yeah, between the slow walking and then people hitting you with their bags and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of sweaty spandex.
Sweaty spandex. Yeah. For sure, especially with the advent of morph suits for cosplay.
Yeah.
that really makes for a lot of, I'm sure, some crevices. I don't want to shame anybody for the way they handle their cosplay. You know, if you want to just go buy the morph suit and make it work, then buy the morph suit and you make it work. But if you're...
I thought you were talking about Morph from the X-Men for a second.
No.
From like the 90s series.
Just, yeah, there were just a ton of people dressed as Morph.
Huge Morph research.
We're crazy.
Yeah, a morph.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. As much as I don't want to shame them, I'm also like, you just bought a one piece and then wore it and zipped it.
And added a few extra things.
Now, if you added a few extra things, props to you, literal props for you.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, lots of sweaty spandex. So to avoid the lines, Reid, you basically didn't go into the show floor that day, huh?
No, I just stayed at Wired Lounge all day.
And what do they have at the Wired Lounge? I think we talked about it.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Drinks, food. Just
Donuts.
good time. It's a fan experience, so like you have a ton of just fans there, tons of good cosplay.
Yeah, we met
photo
up with you a couple
opportunities.
times there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
every time I had friends coming up being like, I'm like, should I go downstairs? They're like, don't. Like, it was like Walking Dead down there. Like, don't go down there. It is so
Yeah, it's just there's
crowded.
people shuffling. You're afraid you're going to get touched.
Was that the day when you had sent me the video of the dancing Jedi?
Dude, that's...
That guy still there the entire time?
Yeah. He wasn't dressed as a Jedi day one, but he and I danced together on day one. He actually lives in Glendale. And
Why is he not here?
I know, we should totally get him on. He was great. And his other friend, Sarah, she lives around the corner from me. Like,
that's right.
like around the, yeah, she lives like in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
He was getting down though.
He was having a damn good time.
His
You guys
saber
were.
became a prop.
Yeah.
He ended up as a limbo stick.
Well, and then he and somebody cosplaying as Rey had like a dance off using their lightsaber, so they were like dancing while also dueling.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
And the music was awful still. DJ number 2 was just as bad as DJ number 1.
Because it was the same dude.
No, it was a different dude the second day. On Saturday, it was a different dude. No, it was equally awful. They worked together, I think, because I saw Friday's DJ walking up to help him unload.
Maybe that's what it was.
So-
He was there. So.
Yeah, no, he was there, but he was not responsible for the awful music on day 2. I don't think the Peanuts theme played on day 2, but it definitely played on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even a remix, just a straight up.
Just straight up, like, just Peanuts playing on piano.
Yeah. That was
Which killed the mood so hard.
Oh, yeah, but at the same time,
Trio was playing.
Yeah.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
was a track that, oh wow.
Yeah.
yeah. And
No remix.
like, original...
Anything behind it. No beats. No, just straight up.
like a high school dance. So there's like a dance floor in the middle, and then around it is just like a surrounding area with like food tables,
Yeah.
drinks, and all that stuff.
What sort of school did you go to that there were food tables at your high school dance?
And then one in San Diego.
Oh,
Used to it.
We had punch.
we did not have punch.
Area.
We had water bottles underneath the tables, and there was nowhere to spike a damn thing.
I think if you had to drink, you'd have to drink beforehand for us too.
Yeah.
But even then, they breathalyze you randomly.
Really?
Wow, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how we do it up in Chi-Town. Shit.
Yeah, Illinois, man. Don't mess around.
Don't mess around. No.
We're not laid back like you California.
Well, there was no breathalyzing happening over at the Wired Lounge. No, sir.
Drinking age, okay.
No, they did wristbands and stuff to get in.
Wristband said drinking age.
How old are you? Old enough.
Yeah.
It's a party.
No, they checked IDs, and once you were in, like, you were away from all of the maddening crowds, and they limited how many people were coming in, which was nice.
Yeah, there was a line.
I never waited more than 5 minutes to get into Wired.
No, yeah.
Yeah, even when there was a long line down the hall, I think it maybe topped out at 7 minutes for us.
Yeah, no, like, we got there like, shit, there's a line.
Yeah.
And we were in within, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Easy.
Shout out to Tom, day 2. Still hooked it up with my Tom Collinses.
It's like a Bug's Life. They come, they eat, they leave. People come in, they eat their food, drink, and then they leave. So it's like,
Not I. Not us. We stayed as soon as... Well, because we went there because we were like, screw people. People suck. We're tired of human beings.
Saturday, we walked the floor a little bit, but we had a couple of interviews that we had to do.
Yeah.
Which you'll hear about later.
But, well, Bryan and I were also really exhausted because
This is a podcast, and Reid just made a very surprising face.
Yeah, we did some cool interviews, but we started Saturday on like lowered energy, because Friday night we went and we watched the show after the party, and we walked down Gaslamp and we saw like the worst that alcohol can do to a human. Like short of seeing a dead guy, like we saw everything that booze can do.
Right now, really proud.
Yeah.
Call that my home.
Yeah. Well, it was Gaslamp during like party season, so it's
like Mardi Gras level.
a little bit. Yeah. I would have preferred if it was a little bit more like Mardi Gras level, so that we could have seen the fun side of drinking at Gaslamp.
Yeah.
But instead we just saw the worst side of drinking at Gaslamp.
Nice that they closed down the streets though.
Yeah. And it's cool because like you had people like street performers in the middle of the street. It basically became the strip, which I thought was super cool. We had a guy who was, the con players were there and they were playing Steven Universe music for me. And I was like, hey, I love this song. And he's like, oh, you like Steven Universe? They went through like 4 songs right there for me. They usually play like bebop tracks, Zelda tracks, things like that. And they go, that's what they do. We didn't, but I got their card.
It's fine.
And then we had a guy who did like a Mega Man remix on the keyboard in the middle of the street.
He was playing guitar, but he also had a snare drum and a bass drum, like a smaller one.
Yeah.
Like
all 3 instruments at the same time.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
And he had things looping too. So he'd start the loop on the piano.
With all 3 instruments.
No, he'd start the loop on the piano while like pressing the just with the drum doing the beat, and then he would switch over to the guitar and like play with the loop. It was fantastic, so cool. Yeah, and so Gaslamp's really cool. Like, and we did the Chuck Jones art gallery.
Early evening.
Yeah,
this isn't the show.
No, this isn't the show. But at 2:00 in the morning, the show happened, and so we wound up not getting home until not getting to even where we were staying until 3:00, and then we wound up going to Denny's and not really getting into bed and falling asleep until like 4. And I was like, I can survive on 4 hours. I have an autograph I'm trying to get tomorrow. I will be there, and so I left.
Spirit. That's
I was like, I can handle this, and so about 12 hours later, my body was like, hey, remember when you turned 30, you jackass? But we'll get to that. But Bryan, you showed up shortly after I did.
Yeah, so that day we all kind of rolled there.
We rolled separately, yeah.
So I woke up, you were already gone, I think.
Yeah, I left probably around 8:45.
Yeah, and so I was up at like, I think, because I heard you up and around, and I heard you leave, and then I got up, ate some quick breakfast, went to go see if Tate was up, dude was still out, and so I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll head over to the con too, so I did, and yeah, we walked the floor separately, and then we randomly ran into each other. Yeah. Somewhere.
We ran into each other on the floor.
And we're like, oh, hey.
And I was like, oh, cool, we're hanging out. Well, and I had texted you because you knew I was coming back to the floor. Because I failed to get my first autograph.
Yeah.
The ticket didn't pull. So it is what it is. I thought getting there before the line would mean that I would get an autograph. No, it meant that I would get a raffle for an autograph, and I failed. So I went around and I tried to get into the panel, and the line because I had it was the Steven Universe panel, and even the ADA line was like a several hundred feet.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that is insane. Okay, so I gave up on that, and then I went back. Well, the problem was it was an Indigo room, but it was Indigo room at the beginning of the day. So everyone in line is not just there for Steven Universe; they're in line for everything for the rest of the day,
which I freaking hate.
It is one of the biggest problems with the line.
Resident Evil panel ever.
Yeah.
It's like you're waiting for the Marvel, and then like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of my first Comic-Cons that I went to, there was an X-Men comics panel with some of the writers and stuff. Like, I wanted to go because that's my jam. But I couldn't get in because everybody was waiting for the True Blood panel 5 panels later.
Yep.
And there's all these people dressed up as Sookie Stackhouse. Some of it was great.
Sookie.
So, yeah, they don't clear out the rooms, so it's a big problem.
Yeah. So, but with that, I was like, okay, I'm not doing that panel. So then I go back over to see if I can get another set of autographs, which were also really important to me. And I fail at that one too. And I'm like, damn, 2 for 2, that sucks. And I'm walking back, and then I see this sign and it says Steve Blum. And Steve Blum's my favorite voice actor of all time. I freaking love Steve Blum. Like Spike Spiegel, like reignited my love of comics and cartoons. Like, I adore this man. And I see the sign and I'm like, oh, where do I get a ticket for that? And then I realize there's like 3 people waiting to talk to him, and he's just posted up.
He's just hanging out.
So I got asked to let the line go because I talked to him for like 15 to 20 minutes, and he's just the coolest dude. And so I wound up getting his autograph and chatted with him, and I'm possibly going to take his voice acting class and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So
Comic-Con moment.
Then that's like redemption for everything else, you know.
And you know, like that. that kind of thing kind of happens over there, where you have a set plan, it doesn't.
It might not go through.
Yeah.
But then something else equally as cool, if not better, happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still kind of bummed you missed what you missed.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, if you didn't miss that stuff, you wouldn't have had that really cool experience.
Yeah.
You know.
Now,
That's what you make of it.
Yeah.
That's really is what you.
yeah, and you need to be willing to roll with the punches.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure.
And that's kind of how the day started out. Like, he went separately, I went separately, and yeah, so we went through all that. Then we randomly ran into each other, and then I think we were just walking the floor a little bit, and then we get a text from Tate like, "Hey, you guys up? Like, you guys getting ready to head out, or what?"
Yeah, no, he said, "Do you want me to wake up, Mr. I can operate on 4 hours of sleep?"
Me, yeah, he sends that.
All
and I'm like,
smug, and Brian's like, "We're both here.
"Yeah, we're up here, dude."
It's 11."
Bryce was here first.
Yeah, no, I was ready to rock.
How many years have you guys been going?
This is my second year.
This was my 6th or 7th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Four for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
What about you?
18.
18 years.
Because I lived down there. That's just what you did during summers. You would go to Comic-Con. Like
18,
You
wow.
could walk up to the door and buy
That's what happened.
buy a
first,
ticket.
I
Yeah.
went first time in 03, and that's exactly what we did.
I walked into, I think, an X2 panel 5 minutes before the
was
panel
X2?
started.
Oh, that's cool.
You try and do that now, there's no way.
Oh, no way.
Not a chance.
You're in
Not a
line for
chance.
like 2 days. It
Yeah,
was insane.
You know, the craziest part about waiting in line, at least for the merch side of things, is that you wait in line, the day before. Similar situation you had with your autograph, but you're not guaranteed to get a ticket to go into the vendor.
Yeah.
Bigger vendor, Funko,
Right.
Mattel, Hasbro, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor souls are waiting in there 24 hours in advance, sleeping on the ground.
for a chance.
For a chance. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, and for me, like, I don't think I'll push for I'm not really that big into autographs anyway. I don't typically get very starstruck. I got a little starstruck with Steve Bloom because I was like, I've been wanting to talk to you for 10 years because I saw him at Anime Expo like 10 years ago. And I really like wanted to hop up to the front of the panel and he got out of there too quick, which is not our experience with the Star Wars books panel, which was awesome.
That's how we got some of our interviews.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, after the panel, they were outside talking to people, hanging out, and we.
Yeah, my favorite audiobook narrator and the woman who wrote one of my favorite Star Wars books, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we got to interview her, which you guys will hear pretty soon here.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Brian, what were you there for? Because you got there pretty early in the morning. Did you have any set plan on Saturday?
No, I was just up, and I think there was a few panels in the afternoon I wanted to hit up, but I still hadn't seen a lot of the floor. And so, yeah, I was just kind of walking, just scoping some stuff out, and I think I was gonna try. That's right, because we hit up the DBZ like big old thing outside.
I thought we did that on Sunday.
We did both.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, because that was the day we did the figurines, and we checked out all the figurines at the DBZ outside booth, which was super cool.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like my first real anime was probably Sailor Moon, to be perfectly honest. Let's be real. Like Saturday mornings, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was on. But the first time I was like, I want to watch this anime and called it an anime, and it wasn't like Pokemon or something like that, was Dragon Ball Z when I was in 7th grade or something like that. But I quickly went into like the much deeper side of anime and wound up, with like Angel Sanctuary and like Hellsing and crap like that. But DBZ has this like little special place in my heart when it was like, that was the first like show. Cause I think I watched Akira maybe before that, but like going around there, it was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in 8th grade. Charles,
There was some,
I just,
Part of the lineups and the Cartoon Network, that's essentially, I mean, like, it pretty much has a place in all of our hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's cool because it recently came back with Dragon Ball Kai, which is re-edited and redubbed version of Dragon Ball Z. Like the original run was like 280 something episodes, and now it's down to like 180. They cut that much fluff and stuff.
and screaming, really. They probably just removed 40% of the screaming.
Yeah. So we're Goku, we're to turn Super Saiyan on Namek, whatever. It normally took like 10 episodes for that. It was supposed to be like 5 minutes till the planet blew up, and it's only like 4 episodes now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool. So like that made like a big old like resurgence with just the property itself, and then they're doing Dragon Ball Super now, which they were.
Yeah. And it's on Toonami,
Yeah.
which is hosted by Tom, who's voiced by Steve Bloom. It's just all Comic-Con, all comes together. So so we did the DBZ booth. We walked around. We played the game. We played the video games.
Video games. They had a mobile game that was set up.
That mobile game was sick.
It was really cool.
It was a really cool fighting game.
Fighting game.
DBZ Fighter.
Yeah.
DBZ Fighters, yeah. Super
Really
cool.
Those graphics are freaking gorgeous.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's essentially what I would picture a true fighter. Budokai and all the classics for
Oh, yeah.
PS2, fantastic, but like at the end of the day, what you see in DBZ Fighter Z is like.
Yeah.
And it looked
the show.
Well, and it's cool because it looks like the show. And like with the cell shading and all that kind of stuff going on for it, but also moves have like really, really short cinematics when they happen. So it's not just like a big wave, like, you know, in Marvel vs. Capcom, there's a big wave of stuff that changes the background, and then a giant thing happens, and you're just kind of stuck and hope you can block it before it starts. In this, it's like suddenly we change angles and the whole camera shifts real quick, and it's super fast, and then it gets you right back in. So it doesn't take you out of it, but it also doesn't feel like you're just doing a side by side scroll, you know, scrolling back and forth fighting game. Really, really well done.
Was this on the show floor?
This was outside.
Okay.
Yeah, this was right behind.
Right by the Marriott area.
My hotel looked over it.
Oh, okay.
I could see it.
Yeah.
No, so it was really cool. So we did that for a bit. We walked back in the floor. That's when we had our interviews. So we kind of got ready for those, and
we ran in. We
prepped a little bit. We were sitting there prepping, and then Seth Green walks by with his
Seth Green had like 4 guards and then like 2 other people who weren't in suits with sunglasses, and it was the strangest thing.
Were this non-suit sunglasses people friends or also security?
They were part of it. I think they probably like fan out and like keep an eye on external things. I don't know.
Fan out.
But yeah, so like our Saturday was kind of mellow.
It was just the crowd was driving me bonkers.
Yeah.
Kept getting bumped into, kept bumping into people. And, you know, when someone bumps into you and they're like, oh, hey, dude, sorry. You're like, no, man, it's cool, whatever. When someone doesn't, it's like, well, you know what, buddy? Yeah. I hope that something horrible happened. Like, calm down. And it's at that point where you start realizing you're like getting angry at people for really dumb, pointless crap that you go, you know what I want? Food. Maybe booze, and to be in a place where I can sit on a couch.
Yeah. Luckily, most of the fans are always, in my experience, very, very nice. Like, it's a very kind. Like, everyone there's all there to have a good time, super positive.
Yeah, the only time they really get annoying is when there's free stuff being given out.
Yeah.
They start to get a little snippy. There was
Nick over here shaking his head.
Yeah, he's seen it. Well, and the one that I didn't realize was a problem was there's people who like heavily hint that they want what you have in like an almost pressury sort of way. And so they're like, "Oh, I didn't get that pin. I got the toucan pin." And I'm like, "Yeah, I really like it because this is the first year I've ever displayed the free pins I was getting." But I was like, "Well, I'm getting these free pins and I always just put them in a bag. I hang my lanyards in my room. Why not deck them out?" So I put all them on, and this woman was like, "Yeah, I really like that pin." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. You know, I'm really happy about it." And she like kept going, and I was like, "This is you're making me uncomfortable."
Come out and say it.
Yeah. And then later on Sunday, I don't want to go too much into it, but we were at a big giveaway on Sunday, and this dude was like practically trying to snatch things out of people's hands. Like it was crazy, you know? And
you spend so much money at the end of the day, and I think that's where that mentality comes from.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'm here, I'm at this big place, I spend X amount of dollars to get into the con. Okay, what can I compensate for the time, the effort.
And I understand. I totally get that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when I walked out and I had, you know, a couple of things. I had free comics from a couple of booths. I had commemorative stuff. You know, I was like,
Took a step back.
What's exclusive?
well, yeah, there was that. But I mean, at the end of the con, when I walked away and I was like, oh shoot, I like walked away with some really cool stuff. Like I got some swag. You know, years ago, Bryan would come home from Comic-Con and be like, dude, I have way too much swag. Have some. And he divvied it out to his friends. Yeah. And the last 2 years, you know, I've been going, and last year I came out of it and I was like, I paid for pretty much everything I have here. Not much of it is exclusive. So why did I spend money there when I could probably get it later? You know, that felt weird. But walking away this year and having a couple of free things, it really felt like I kind of got my experience worth. You know, I was like, oh, cool, I have some stuff. And then what did I do? I went home and I said, these are for you. These are for you. These are for you because I don't need these. You know, I have extra copies, whatever.
You become the hero.
And I'm okay with that.
The hero that we all need.
So what panel did we go see a panel on Saturday?
We didn't see any panel.
We wanted to, and we wound up missing them, so we went to Wired instead.
Yeah.
We got our interviews. We interviewed Ming Chen. We interviewed DK Johnston. We interviewed...
Ming Chen?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we met at the party, and me and him. I saw him. I'm like, oh, you know, you're
comic book man.
Comic book.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, I watched it for years. He's like, yeah, we just got canceled. I'm like, oh, so I started blah blah blah. He's like, oh, so what do you got going on? I'm like, oh, like I'm here just hanging out, and you know, we've got a couple interviews on where I do a podcast. He's like, you have a podcast? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I would love to be on the podcast. And I'm like, okay.
You asked me to be on my
And he
podcast?
was so about it. And it turns out him and a couple of the Calm Movement guys opened up their own podcasting studio on the East Coast there.
Yeah.
And they're all about it. And they're all about promoting.
Yeah, if you want to start a podcast, you can actually go to these guys.
And they'll show you how to set everything up, what equipment you need.
They'll run you through the editing process. Like, they'll get you in, recorded, and
What
live.
a great resource.
Oh, yeah. And they're all about helping.
And they'll jump in on your podcast with you, too.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. So, yeah, met him, did the podcast there. While we were doing the podcast with him, we had another guy show up. He's like,
Heard you guys talking podcast, heard you guys talking geek. You mind if I introduce you to this cool app? And then
that I created. And we talked to a dude who created this app that you look up
key issues.
Key issues, first appearances.
You look up a character and you're like, where? Like, I looked up Apocalypse the other day and it was like, boom, here's every X factor that like he showed up in initially, and then here's like the issue where they introduces him as a child. You know, here's the X Force when he comes in as Evan Sabanur.
Yeah. So it was really cool. So yeah, you guys will hear that pretty soon here. We're gonna put all those into one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the interviews and they were like, we need some free food, we need some booze, because
people are driving me nuts. And so we got out of there, and that honestly, I probably would have been happier if we'd done panels that day, partially because I like sitting.
What was the weather like? I can't remember. Was it hot? Was it like overly hot? Or?
It was
not bad.
It got really hot midday, but it cooled down super fast, and I know it cooled down super fast because it winds up ruining my night.
Yeah.
So we had a ton of stuff to do in the evening. When we left
Left where?
When we left the Wired Lounge. When we left the Wired Lounge on Friday, we went down the staircase. I wanted to make a cool exit, so I didn't take the elevator.
Plus, it was a staircase.
So yeah,
crazy crowd.
The elevator had a huge line, and we were like, forget it. We're just going to go around the staircase. So we start taking the staircase down. But just before the staircase, we notice there's a door to the pool, and we're like,
and you don't need a key card.
And so we're like, cool, tomorrow, bring your trunks. So I wear these. This is a podcast, and I'm pointing to my 3-in-1 shorts. Love them.
Trinity, very nice.
Yeah. So I wear my 3-in-1 shorts that act as swim trunks and dry really, really quickly. And I walk in, and I'm like, you guys ever been on that subreddit, act like you belong? Today is the day. And I walked, there's a security guard over there, and I'm like, let's do this. And I walk down, I sit down next to a dude on a bench, and
just with the confidence
just start talking to him. And he's like, hey, man, how you doing? You enjoying yourself? I'm like, yeah, man, what are we talking? By the time he leaves, he's like, hey man, you guys have a good weekend, you know. And
that was George Lucas.
Oh no.
What a great story.
That man, Albert Einstein. So random guy leaves, not George Lucas, but he leaves, and then a group of guys come in who they sat in Hall H all day on Friday. And
I don't want to meet them.
they just went to every panel and told us all about it. They were like, we wanted to be at pretty much every one of those panels.
Yeah.
So
it was a pretty stacked day.
Yeah. So that's what they did.
So Bryce ended up. He first went like just feet in the pool.
Yeah, I just wanted feet in the pool. I needed to relax. My feet were hurting. That was the other thing, is I left in a hurry because I wanted to get those autographs, and the dress shoes that I wore from the night before wore down the top of my toes. And so they were kind of hurting. And so I was like, I can't wear my tennis shoes. It's going to hurt too much. So I put on flip-flops. I figured I'd go home midday. Mistake. I have back problems, and flip-flops aren't good for them. And
what style? Pool sandals or
like
rainbows?
Like rainbows, but not well put together. Okay. So, you know, either way, every time you take a step, you're having to curve your toe down.
Yeah.
And that's just clinching your calves, which are already way too tight and causing me problems. But this is not about that. So I'm like, I need to get my legs in some water. Like, I just need a relax.
As time went on, Bryce just slowly ended up in the water, and pretty soon he's like, so I'm going all the way in, and boom, he was in.
Suddenly I'm swimming.
Situation.
Yeah. So he did that, and I'm like, well, son of a bitch, I'm gonna cool.
So Tate just read his comics, and
Tate read his comics, and I put my legs in, and then got my knees wet, kind of like. But I
next thing you know, us and these other dudes are chilling in the jacuzzi.
Because the original plan was just to be in there for 20 minutes tops, and then we were gonna head back.
We were there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah. We're gonna head back, change, record this podcast.
Yep.
And then head back out and meet up with everybody who was going back out.
Yeah, because we were going to all meet at Coin Op. And it was one of two places. We were going to go to Coin Op, or we were going to go to the Bayfront. And Tom Kenny was hanging out at the Bayfront, so we were like, okay, we might actually just go to the Bayfront instead. And then I got invited to an after party at the end of the Wired Lounge because we met the director guy.
Right.
We met the director of The Haunting in Connecticut. And yeah, super cool dude. Super cool dude, Australian. And he was like, hey, get this guy the info for the after party. So we're like, okay, cool. Like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, we're going to go to this other place. Different after party.
Wired after dark.
So we go through all this crap and like we've got a whole plan for what the evening's gonna be, and then we go to the pool, and all the way in the pool.
Friends with the dudes there.
And TMI, but I was wearing cotton undershorts. I was wearing like boxer briefs. So midway down my thigh, all the way up to my hip bones are soaking wet. And they continue to stay wet long after my shorts dry. So then we go to get food, and we're trying to find something cheap, and we wind up not agreeing on what we want. But we both, like, Bryan and I want Mexican food, and Tate wants pizza, and there's a Mexican food place and a pizza place right next door to each other, both legit. So we go and eat.
Can I make a plug real quick?
Yes.
By all means.
Gaslamp Pizza is the best pizza in the Gaslamp, and every time I've gone there, I've seen some sort of celebrity.
Oh, yeah?
Wow.
Every single time.
Where's that?
How close is it to cheeseburgers and beer?
In general,
Cheeseburger and cold beer, like the restaurant cheeseburgers and cold beer.
Is that really the restaurant?
That's really the name of the restaurant.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Gaslamp Pizza's like platform 9 3/4. You just kind of like.
Oh, is it that little place?
Yeah.
Is it little?
It's very tiny.
Oh, dude, we went there last year. Amir and I did while you were working.
Exactly what you're talking about.
I do too. It's seriously so good.
Yeah, like giant.
It's like on a corner.
You can't find it unless you're looking for it. It's magical.
It is, yeah. We were on our way toward that, and then we wound up, looking for the Mexican food place instead. We got some seriously good fish tacos,
San
though.
Diego Mexican food is
that's solid.
It's so good. It was so good. And they had horchata, which was like super authentic.
That was good.
Oh, it's so good. Normally it gets a little bit too like spicy for me at the end, and this was
horchata.
yeah. Normally not spicy, but like too cinnamony. Yeah, I say spicy, not in the hot sense. Yeah,
Okay.
not in the hot sense, but in like the why is this on my tongue? Like,
the mouth
calm it
wash
down.
style way.
Yeah, yeah. So
we did that.
so then I start shaking.
What?
I start shaking. I start like convulsing, like I'm freezing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because the temperature dropped down to like the
As soon
high
as the sun goes
60s,
down, it's cold.
Yeah. You're by the bay.
Yeah.
and I'm in wet shorts, and they're not drying. And so we get home.
Sounds like an experience. I'm pointing to Reid because it sounds like...
I had a very similar situation on Splash Mountain, so...
Not to veer this off from
Right, no.
Comic-Con, but yeah, Reid basically felt the same pain you were.
Yeah,
We're brothers.
and it like your hips start hurting. And mind you, my hips and my legs and my back are already kind of sore because I'm wearing flip flops all day. And so like I start kind of shuffling, and I start like my body temperature. I can't warm myself up. Like I'm trying, and I feel like I'm just so exhausted.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, and I'm so exhausted that I honestly think that my body was just too tired to fix it.
Yeah.
And so I get home, I get into a shower. Mind you, it took me like, I'm shuffling all the way to the Uber. Like the guy's like practically helping me out of the car. I feel like I'm an old man. I shuffle into the Uber, I like fall into this back seat, and then he's like, "You guys party hard?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just really old." So we get back into the apartment. I go upstairs and I get into the bathtub and I fall asleep.
In the bathtub?
Yeah, with the shower, like with water in it, and just trying to heat my freaking like hips and body back up.
And meanwhile, we're like, we're gonna rest up for 20, 30 minutes. We're gonna head back out.
I come back down in pajama pants.
This ain't happening.
Yeah, I come back down in pajama pants and I'm like, first of all, I hereby
It starts with that.
I hereby officially renounce flip-flops as a legitimate form of footwear. And he's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay." And I'm like deliriously like ranting at him like I'm drunk. And I'm stone cold sober. And I mean,
Still chilly by this point after the...
I'm not as chilly, but I'm hurting and my stomach's killing me. And Bryan looks at me and he goes, "You got con flu." And I'm like, no.
Wait, you didn't know.
I mean,
It might have kicked in a little.
I feel like con flu is this mysterious, sometimes it's a virus, sometimes it's just a bad experience and your body just hates you.
got it so bad last year. Like,
I typically get.
Can we talk about con flu? Because this all leads up to what I was wanting to talk about, which is like this weird anomaly that happens at cons when you're trapped with thousands and thousands of people.
You end up picking up some sort of flu, cold, who knows what the hell. something. You pick up something where you feel like shit.
And your hands are all over the place. Freebies, tables, food, all sorts of
And you're eating and like you're snacking on granola bars you've been keeping in this bag full of things that have all been manhandled by other people.
Not a great place. Not a lot of places to wash your hands.
It's not a great healthy spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wound up taking a muscle relaxer because my body just wouldn't unmove. Prescription. I have a prescription. Calm down. Audience at home, I don't have a problem. But I take one and I'm like, I'm going to be back in 8 hours. Like, well, I'll be okay, but I have to go to sleep now. Yeah. And he's like, when did you take it? And I was like, just now. And he's like, you mean all that rambling wasn't under the influence of that?
And I'm like, you're probably just kind of like delirious from like your pain meds. He's like, I haven't taken it yet.
Yeah, no, I was just that. Like, I was that, pardon my language, but I was that fucked up. It was so bad.
Did you have the con flu?
I don't know. The next morning I woke up honestly feeling hungover. Like
probably just exhausted.
I was
maybe overheated a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean it didn't go on for the next day. The next morning I wasn't feeling good until probably noon or 1 o'clock. Yeah. So if it was con flu, it hit me and was out in like 8 hours. Yeah. But it was I was absolutely exhausted. I was dehydrated. I was exhausted.
That's also at Comic-Con, you got to make sure you're drinking a ton of water.
Because you're walking the whole time and you're in a humid, like, contained space. Yeah. You're sweating the whole day.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
It's a workout in itself.
It is.
Yeah. So that was kind of our Saturday. Reid, you were at the Wired Party all day.
But what happened after the Wired Party?
Yeah, what did you do after that?
Hilton Bayfront.
You did go to the Bayfront.
I did go to the Hilton Bayfront. There was like a little bar downstairs, pool area.
Sorry, we hung out there last year.
Was there an artist in the hallway like there was last year? I didn't at the Hilton.
There were paintings.
Cool.
I did not see the artists hanging out.
Oh, okay.
And we were interacting with them the previous year, but there were paintings there.
It was a Brazilian guy last year, wasn't it?
It was him and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I wonder how they're doing. I'm sure I have their cards somewhere.
I ran into a guy though at the Hilton Bayfront who I camped out in Hall H with like 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Immediately recognized me. I recognize him, like one of those.
Oh, that's cool.
Mark, he's like, Reid, oh my God, like what's up? Like it was a beautiful moment between two like Hall H'ers. And after we camped out, I saw him the next year in there, but I didn't see him in line. I was like, how'd you get in? He was like, there's the situation, and anyway, I'm here.
All right.
I don't know how you handle that, but all right.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, you're here now. Don't give me the backstory. Better off not knowing. But it was a nice moment to be like, oh, hey.
That is cool.
Two like, two passing winds.
Right.
Two fish passing in the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, 2 ships passing in the night?
No, 2 fish passing in the night.
They don't remember a whole lot.
We're little Comic-Con guppies.
That's fair. And you're in a really, really fucked up school. Yeah. That doesn't have any plan. There's no defense. This isn't instinctual. It's just sort of a mess.
It just happens.
Comic-Con is kind of like, you remember that first scene in Finding Nemo when all the fish are kind of like running into each other? There's like different freeways.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. No,
It's a big ocean.
It is. It's a big, except it's honestly more like a containment tank. Exactly. Like they've all been dumped from the sky. It's like, I'll tell you what, Comic-Con does have some real bad smells in it once in a while.
Oh yeah, don't get me started.
You're just like, oh boy, BO is going.
Well, it's a lot of people sweating. I mean, it gets hot there.
There should be like a deodorant booth. I don't understand how Gillette, if you're listening, they would literally clean up.
Literally, yeah.
Oh man,
you can't bring razors into the con floor.
Gillette makes deodorant.
Not people want to bring swords and axes.
Yeah, but you have to get that checked.
Yeah, you gotta get peace ties.
Should I check my Gillettes?
You know what I liked about the peace tie people? So peace tie is basically a marked zip tie that says, hey, like we've checked this weapon. It's not actually deadly, or we've at least attached it to the person.
About the weapons check.
Yeah, weapons check. So they call them peace ties, or at least that's what the cosplayers called them back when I was a young lad.
Back in the day.
But like I watched a guy who was cosplaying as Negan, and he wanted to have his bat over his shoulder. And so they peace tied, like zip ties all the way up. They zip tied all the way up, like a chain of them, so that he would have the ability to lift the thing, and it would go that far. Like he couldn't, I'm like, frankly, he couldn't swing too far with it, but he could walk around with it on his shoulder, and it wasn't forced to stay on his hip, because Lucille, we wanted Lucille to have that. Yeah. So yeah, I think they're really accommodating in that. They're like, we know that this policy doesn't actually help anybody, but it's the thought that counts. So let's just make it work.
Yeah.
So
that was our Saturday.
What did you do, Nick? Saturday? Anything?
Oh, no,
you worked the booth?
as you guys know, I worked, so I didn't really get to do much. Being an exhibitor, you have access to the floor early, which is nice. So I did some walking around the video game area.
On day zero on Thursday or Wednesday?
Sorry?
On Wednesday?
No, on Saturday.
Oh, on Saturday. Oh, early in the morning.
Yeah, early in the morning before, you have to work and set up the booth. So I went over to the Capcom area.
Capcom area was super cool.
Yeah, we
was
did a
able
couple
to
times.
remake. You guys know I'm a big video game guy, so that.
What? Since when?
Dude, why don't you tell us these things?
What, dude?
Yeah, we can talk about E3. That's a whole nother thing.
Oh,
But yeah,
you son of a...
I didn't really get to experience the way you guys got to experience it, just, kind of casually strolling around. But I did get to see the chaos, I was in the midst of it.
Yeah.
I like to say Comic-Con is like The Walking Dead, when they're the main characters are stuck in a situation where it's just overrun by zombies.
You're stuck, you can't do anything.
Especially when people want free stuff too. The hands, it's just... It's,
The hands.
The hands, you see the hands reaching out.
Might as well make that velvet rope like a don't open dead inside door.
Especially when they open the gates and everyone's like...
Yeah.
That's actually kind of fun to... That is my favorite thing to watch.
That was cool last year when I worked.
Opens.
Yeah.
Is the con floor is now open, and then you just start seeing people.
And you kind of look... So if you walk in the booth and you hear that, you kind of look at each other like, oh shit, here we go.
Here it goes, people.
Retail Black Friday.
Yeah, it's retail Black Friday, yeah.
But yeah, Saturday was cool. I actually, before I met up with Reid at the Hilton Bayfront, I went off to Little Italy. I don't know if you guys ever ate there in San Diego. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Went with my coworker and his wife, and we just had some good dinner. But it was much needed after.
Nice. Oh yeah.
It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Like Bryce, I was pretty much spent at this point. I sat down with a whiskey at the Bayfront. I was like, this is my life.
We just kind of it was not like a party that we did. It was more of it was very much a decompression.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, totally.
Of just being talking about what it was like this year.
Wasn't the dude there? There was a guy walking around drinking white.
There was.
Russians dressed up as...
He looked like if Jason Momoa played the dude.
Dude, I think I saw that guy, and my first thought was, why isn't this dude dressing up as Aquaman?
Oh.
There was another dude who was dressed up, and I was like, you look exactly like Rick Grimes. You've made a terrible error. Why are you dressed this way? And I think he was dressed as Aquaman. And I was like, no, you need to be Rick Grimes. And you guys have all messed this up.
He's like, I can be whatever I want to be.
I know.
I want to be an Aquaman. I want to be an Aquaman.
Good, you be Aquaman. But take...
DMX song, be what I want to be.
I think we said be Aquaman.
We'll ask that question when we start streaming Mario Party, and I have to start screaming words again.
We also saw a guy who looked like he was cosplaying as me. He had the Hawaiian shirt backwards.
yeah.
Hawaiian shirt, backwards surf hat. I was like, have I been going this long? Oh yeah.
You're an icon of Comic Con.
Have I been going this long that people have started cosplaying?
It's like Suds McKenzie.
It is very exciting. I've been going for as long as I have, and I get to take somebody or go with somebody who's never been before.
It's like going to Disneyland.
Exactly. You get to experience it through their eyes for the first time.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like you walk into the floor and
And you stop and you're just like...
it's overwhelming.
Dude.
You see it in videos, but until you actually stand in there, it's like going to New York and you actually see the buildings and you actually experience it and the culture and everything.
Yeah.
It is wholly immersive. And if you're a fan of media, comics, video games, anything, you should
The
go
popular
at least
arts.
once in your life.
Yeah.
It's at least once you got to make the pilgrimage down to San Diego for it.
It's great. It's an experience. It's a celebration of pop culture, which, this world, we say this world needs now, it doesn't. I think we've celebrated to this point.
Yeah.
So it's finally, what I'm trying to say is it's great that we're recognizing it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, and somebody asked me why do you like Comic-Con so much? And it wasn't like, why do you like Comic-Con so much? But it was like, that's just, frankly, it's just how our conversations go. She's like, well, what do you like about it? And I said, when I watch a show like Steven Universe, when I watch a show like Doctor Who, when I watch a show like Dragon Ball Z or any of those guys, I feel like I'm 10 again.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about my bills. I don't have to worry about my deadlines. I don't have to worry about what I have to edit. I don't have to worry about, whether or not I'm paying rent with this job or this job, etc. I can throw all that away and I can just enjoy the fact that I feel like a kid.
Yeah.
And this is like a giant convention celebrating that feeling.
Yeah, with everybody else.
With everyone else who's on the same page, who can all get excited with you. So you see something and you can start geeking out about it, and the person next to you's geeking out about it, and then the two of you just become instant best friends for like the next minute and a half. You buy your stuff and then you walk away.
You're like around 250,000 potential best friends.
Yeah. That's such a that is such a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And also 250,000 people that you could totally hate for their awful opinions on things.
Oh, right. Yeah. So you don't talk to them too long.
Yeah, but you get enough to get like the best of people, hopefully.
Yeah.
And and you can bond over the fact that you guys do agree on one thing, and that is that you both like this thing you're at the booth at.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a guy come up and he's like, well, I don't really like this model, blah, blah, blah. You're like, okay, cool. And then you walk away and you're like, I don't have time to deal with this human. And then you walk over to the other guy and he's like, dude, did you see the such and such? And you're like, yeah, I did. We're BFFs right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the person selling you the merchandise, and sometimes it's the person buying the merchandise with you. And sometimes it's you see a guy who's carrying the same thing you did and you're like, what did you get in yours? Like the mystery boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Mystery boxes, instant conversation with mystery boxes. Like, what'd you get in your mystery box? And they're like, oh, I got this. Like at one point I asked a girl and she like sat down, opened it up, and was like, I got this. I was blown away also because I didn't get the mystery box this year, and it was 10 times better than last year's mystery box. But yeah, it was just super cool.
Yeah. So
250,000 potential best friends. Such a great way to put that.
I don't know if you guys heard, but Clone Wars is coming.
What?
I know.
Clone Wars is coming back. Did you hear Clone Wars coming back?
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I heard it.
So we were in the panel. We talked, but
We cried.
But it was Friday.
It was Thursday. It was Thursday.
I don't know my days. But anyways, same situation there where we're in this panel and they make this huge announcement.
Yeah, and I'm next to some like teenage cosplay gal. Like, I don't have any reason to discuss anything with this girl other than the fact that we're both really excited for Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And we're like high-fiving and like just super excited.
People hugging each other and high-fiving. And once the panel was over, we got let out. Like, we found friends, like actual friends we know, and we were geeking out with them. And then their friends we hadn't met yet. And then like some of our friends they hadn't met. And then we were just in a big old group of happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, and then every Star Wars cosplayer is like getting just bombarded because everyone's just so excited that like, hey, you're cosplaying the show that we're all losing our minds over right now. There was like 3 Barrises, and they were all getting there, and there was some like old like temple guards, and it was just so great. And I feel like when you get pumped up for that one particular thing that you're there for, whatever panel you saw or whatever, like suddenly seeing the character, even if it's like a half-assed cosplay with a morph suit, like you're like, yeah, you like this thing as much as I like this thing, and probably more because you're willing to dress like it. Thanks.
And everyone's so comfortable like talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Like I remember standing next to a guy who was looking at a Spawn statue. He turns to me, looks at me, I look at him, he's like, man, something about that cape, isn't it? And I'm just like, you're not wrong, dude.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But it's not even just like the big panels and big announcements. There's a lot of little things at Comic-Con that you can go check out or go to a smaller panel. Actually, Saturday I went to a panel about, it's a toy panel where the people talking are in the toy industry. Mm-hmm. And this topic this year was like, what's the toy industry looking like now that Toys R Us?
Oh yeah.
It was fantastic. No, it was great.
What'd they say?
I mean,
Are they scared?
They're saying, toys will live on, play will live on.
Yeah.
So now it's just a matter
online
of
sales, you get different
regrouping and figuring out, now that this.
We don't have KB. We don't have Toys R Us.
How is the landscape going to look?
Yeah.
They're not too concerned. It's just like you got to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
But yeah, it's great to just see the things that Comic-Con has to offer in terms of like hobbies, interests, and what you want to digest and pick and choose, which is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that was our Saturday.
That was our Saturday.
So you did do something other than be in the booth. You went to a panel.
I did. I got to one panel. Yeah.
Cool.
Not
more panels than we did on Saturday.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, guys.
We'll be back for our Sunday breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned for that.
Sunday breakdown, thankfully, was we'll go considerably faster, I think. Not a lot happened on Sunday.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. We'll get there. Or did we do a lot of stuff?
We did do a lot of cool stuff on Sunday, now that I think about it. Shit.
Look at that tease. That was a tease right there.
Yeah.
That's like a Lost style ending.
Right?
You know?
Except we'll figure out where the polar bears came from and what the hell's going on with that damn smoke monster.
What is with the smoke monster?
Aliens. I'm telling you.
Satan.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We will catch you on our Sunday podcast.